Lord, heal our land against coronavirus, other diseases, calamities like floods, typhoons, earthquakes, and man-made destructions, terrorism, illegal drugs, corruption. Transparency TV presents a discussion of vital issues affecting public interests on legal, medical, government, education, tourism, business, sports, family, and religious matters. Hosted by broadcaster Mike Magari. And now, your hosts.
To my fellow Filipinos, please set your fears aside. These vaccines are backed by science and deliberated on by our expert, Filipino expert. I encourage you to get vaccinated at the soonest possible time and be a partner in preventing the further spread of the disease.
Everybody is afraid to go out because of the absence of the vaccine. But with the help of China, and please convey my gratitude, xie to the Chinese government and people. I would like to thank and to travel to China even one day, just to tell President Xi Jinping, thank you.
Good day and welcome to Transparency TV. I'm your host, Mike Magari. Today's presentation on Transparency TV, we will discuss a very important and relevant topics: COVID-19 and political updates. This will be our first segment. And of course, our resource persons are the following: the former governor in the province of Negros Occidental, Philippines, Mr. Rafael Lito Coscoruela.
Mike, mayong agada, mayong agaman sa aton bisita, Rene.
Ang aton second resource person is a media icon, my former boss, my former station manager, and of course, a political analyst, Mr. Rene Diazes. Ren, welcome to Transparency TV.
Mike, thank you very much. Mayong agaman sa kay Governor Lito. Mo pa ni siyang naulat kung mag-intra sa liwat sa politika rin sa ato. No? kay Attorney Talion. No? Good morning, Attorney.
Ang ato ni tatlong resource person mga kabyanan, si Attorney Juan Romulo Talion, an associate lawyer of the Aranas Cruz, Araneta Parker, and Faustino law offices. Jolo, welcome.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, sir. Thank you for inviting me today.
Mga kabyanan, we talk about a very important topic, not only in the Philippines, but worldwide. No? This is the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, before we talk about restrictions, we have to know more about COVID updates, no, in the world and in the Philippines. Now, let's give the microphone to my good friend, Mr. Rene Diazes, for more COVID updates. Ren?
Mike, una sa tanan i-congratulate tagid ka for choosing a very appropriate kag timely na topic, no? While the pandemic has been with us for quite some time,
Yes.
there are developments that will probably take care of itself and become the talk of the town for the next days of the week.
Mhm.
Ang basis na siguro gid is number one, we live from the figures and the data of the World Health Organization, the European research communities, the Johns Hopkins University research. No? In terms of global figures, kung may ara ka mo dra nga cellphone kag ma-check ninyo na because it is there, dra man namo ni ginagawa, no? The whole world now has suffered from this pandemic, and ang total number of confirmed cases 113.5 million,
113.
113.5 million as of February 27 na.
Uh-huh. Total, ah?
Total, worldwide.
Yes, okay.
Ang total deaths is 2,522,000
Mhm.
total deaths na may
Okay. Worldwide, ah?
worldwide. No?
In the Philippines.
There is aton sa Philippines 574,247 confirmed cases.
Mhm.
Ining figure na ni was arrived at an average of 2,920 cases per day. From this total of 574,000 something, ang total number of deaths is 12,289. So, pwede tani makuha ang mga percentiles nila, no? Between but daw kabudlay naman kag hindi naman masyado gid ka kinahanglanon.
Mhm.
The next answer to the next question would probably be worldwide nanong pinakamadamo ng mga cases diin ini makitaan by countries.
Mhm.
Ang US number 1 gyapon at 28 million. Ang India number 2 11 million something. Brazil 10 million. Russia 4 million. May mga dugang pa na, no?
Mhm.
France 3 million. Spain 3 million. Italy 2 million. Turkey, Germany, kagang iban pa. But going to amat-amat yutay nga amat-amat yutay. The Philippines is number 31 in terms of ranking.
Uh-huh.
From the US down, number 31 ng Philippines at 574,000.
Because of the number of cases you have announced, of course, the fear factor, no, of COVID-19 is there because we are talking about total number of cases. People should also know about active cases at present, and of course, we could not deny the fact that the data are sometimes could be not true, or there are some allegations of adding cases of COVID, no? Now let's shift to the restrictions of COVID in the Philippines. I understand that our restriction has already been lifted, no? What are some of the information that you can relate to us, right?
The first is that we have now been classified into a lower status, no, lesser status of GCQ, no, muna mga status muna. The restriction on travel,
Okay,
in-announce na kay na siyang aga,
it was already announced.
especially during last
Officially.
night's press conference with President Digong,
Uh-huh.
na restrictions on travel, wala na.
Lifted already.
Lifted na.
Uh-huh.
You do not have to produce your travel pass.
Mhm.
You do not have to produce your medical certificate.
Yes.
Pwede ka naka-travel nga wala ina ng mga documents.
Uh-huh.
That is confirmed by the National Interagency Task Force
Mhm.
on COVID-19. No? With this, ang gusto sa IATF national na uniform ini all over the country.
Mhm.
kag gina-encourage ang tanan nga local government units to follow. I was listening to Vice Mayor LC.
Oh,
Kay
Here in
Senator
Bacolod City.
Darius Bacolod.
Mhm.
And he confirmed these two announcements from the national government.
Uh-huh.
And Bacolod is going to cooperate.
Oh, I see.
Wala na restrictions. Ang iba ng mga swab, inang
Contact tracing.
contact tracing, mga iba na, that is still going to be discussed. But very limited ang scope tungod kay kung mag-conflict to ini sa national announcement, the national announcement by the IATF will prevail.
Will prevail. Okay. Let's go to vaccination. Former Governor Lito Coscolwela possibly have some thoughts on COVID-19 vaccines. No, there are some people who do not like to be vaccinated because there are some negative effects. I understand. No. So, Lito, what's your thoughts on vaccination of COVID?
Well, una sa tanan, dugay pa basi kita yung malambutan. Kag subong lang, hindi, kaghapon lang nag-abot ang first shipment sang Sinovac. Ang gindonar bala sang China. That is only 600,000 doses, good for 300,000 frontliners. Okay? So, why pa yapiho kung saan ogid maalabot ng iban? Of course, mga private companies are already undertaking their own steps to acquire the other kinds of vaccine. No? So, kung aton lang taon, kung ang target is about 70% of the population, dapat mabakunahan para nga maka-acquire kita sang herd immunity. Why pa piho kung saan una siya matapos? Okay? So in the meantime, ang pobre nga tao nga gahulat sang vaccine, ang pamangkot, maano kami? It would be nice kung tuod mabakunahan tanan at the right time and soon, but given the circumstances, wala piyo kung saan ugid makumpleto. So that's why importante gyapon nga ma-adapt tanan sang proper safety measures. Social distancing, face mask, face shield, kung magsulod ka sa public places. And of course, it means na daw medyo mabudlay pa magpadayon sang face-to-face classes, which is probably one of our biggest problems, no, ang sa edukasyon. There are alternatives to the vaccine nga daw wala ginahatagan sang serious consideration sang gobyerno. And one of these alternatives is ang ginatawag natin nga ivermectin. Over the last several weeks, including sa Senado, mismo si Senate President Tito Soto, naka-bring up na sini that there is an alternative called ivermectin that can function as a prophylactic measure, a preventive measure against COVID. Kag barato ini sa iya kung dito sa Manila, kuno do 35 pesos lang ang isa ka kapsula. 35 pesos and you take one capsule every 2 to 3 weeks. So it's very cheap. No? Affordable siya. Kung lang taon mo na siguro daw magwa siya 2 pesos ang adlaw. Ang equivalent niya. Which is a preventive measure mintras nga way ka pa mabakunahan. Hindi siya palliative actually, Mike, based on tawag sini trials and actual experience sa mga doktor. Effective na ni siya even as a treatment of serious cases. Although nga ang attitude sang gobyerno, dala na dira ang WHO, nga kulang pa kuno sang trials, kulang sang scientific evidence, etc. Just for your information, ang ivermectin is actually intestinal parasites, lugay.
Yes.
No, ginausar ni siya for mga sapat. But originally, it was formulated for human use. So subong na there is evidence that says nga ang ivermectin is effective as a preventive and as a treatment. No? So bring up ini sa Senado kag ang punto kasimple man lang Mentras way ka pa mabakunahan or kung hindi ka gid gusto mabakunahan, there is an alternative ining ivermectin. And
Oh, I see. Huh?
taking ivermectin has no shown negative or after or side effects. The worst ang ginalahog nila, the worst or the best that can happen to you is ma-expel ang imo nga intestinal parasites. Labi na gid sa rural areas nakabalumata damo sang cases of infestation by intestinal parasites. So kung ma-administer lang kuntani sang gobyerno ang ivermectin in the right dose sa aton nga mga pumuluyo nga waay pamalabot sang bakuna, then you are hitting two birds with one stone.
Yes.
Anti-intestinal parasite kag preventive sa COVID. So amo ning isa ka butang kuntani nga seryosohon siyang gobyerno.
I think the government should look into this,
Well, ang Senado nagalantaw na ang problema naton ari sa DOH kag sa WHO nga siguro nagapaniguro man, but you have to remember also nga ang mga vaccines naton, actually ang Sinovac daw ginapangitaan pagani ni sang third phase sang iya nga trials If you recall, Mike Cagaran, ginatagan lang niyang mga vaccines ang EUA, Emergency Utilization Authority. But silingin kitungod nga kinahanglan na subong emergency, so hatagan EUA mintras ginakumpleto ang tawag sini ang trials. Amo man na ang kuntani ang ihatag nila sa ivermectin nga for emergency use at the very least para lang nga mabuligan ang preventive aspect.
With our sad experience of Dingbaxia, I understand people do not like to be vaccinated, no? There are so many people who do not want to be vaccinated because of our sad experience of Dingbaxia, where so many children have died. And the Norway incident, so many people have died also, vaccinated because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So what the government will do if this will be mandatory, I think people will be against mandatory vaccination.
May man kay daw nagdesider naman sila nga hindi na mandatory. But tanan ning bulong kung lang taon mo may ara side effects. No? In the case of the vaccines for COVID, may mga severely affected because of certain conditions. And that contributes to the reluctance of many people nga mapabakuna. In fact, there is a Bacolod na itong balita nagwa nga only 10% of the population willing magpabakuna. Tungod nga nahadlok, no? So in the meantime, nga wala pa ang bakuna or hindi pa magsugot na magpabakuna, there is that alternative nga ginlambal nato, no? Ang advice ko lang, don't take my word for it because I'm not a doctor. Matiin yung mga doktor nga nagahambal. May ara na sang siguro videos nga ari man sa YouTube, no? I-search lang ang ivermectin damo, siguro na kamo mapulot sina ang mga videos. Nalipat ko sa ngalan sang doktor nga nagpagwa sina nationally. There is a local naman niya, I don't know, I hope he will allow me to mention his name. Si Dr. Sales, Regio Sales sa Street. Amo man ang nag-recommendar nga i-consider ang ivermectin because he has direct experience with patients nga nahatagan sang ivermectin, no?
Oo.
So don't take anyone's word for it. Pamatii lang tanan.
Oo.
Pamatian ng doktor, pamatian ng mga counter sina, and then make up your own mind.
Okay.
No?
Oo.
Now, si Rene Arino, kay iti, ara ka mo media, ambot ko nakita ninyo ang post ni Lyndon Kanya sa Facebook.
Anong kanil?
Nag-post iya sang iya personal opinion nga kontra sa vaccine. Hindi sa iya kumbinsido nga maayo ang idea nga makuha ka sang vaccine. So iya man lang personal opinion to on the basis of his own analysis, gin-take down sang Facebook ang iya nga post, no? Ginpamangkot niya nga gin-take down yung akon opinion parte sang vaccine. Ang sabat sa iya, because it was contrary to public interest, kag contrary to the opinion of World Health Organization. May post pagid nga ginpaapa si Lyndon kag nagsiling nga daw gin-deprive nyo kami sang freedom of speech. Ang luyag niya lang kuntani nga mahibalaan sang tanan kung ano ang ginapinsar mo parte sang sininga butang kag allow everybody to make their own opinion. In other words, look for the information that will help you make an opinion. Because there are many opinions nga nagalutaw subong, no? So it's becoming a very hot issue. And I don't know kung ang sa Senado ma-adapt sang other measures to bring up this subject urgently. Kay ti sana siling ko na way pa sigurado kung saan ugid malabutan tanan nga 70% of the population.
In fact,
in the meantime, we're waiting, may ara option.
Okay. In fact, there are some medical experts, we can see it in social media, that who said that the vaccines are unreliable. No, there are some medical experts. No, can you comment on that, Ren?
Matuod gid man ano, and I am quite puzzled by the turn of events, especially ining sa ato ning vaccination kampanya. Worldwide, mga dako-dako naman ang nabakunahan, mga 50 million naman.
Worldwide. But in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, wala pa sang figure. No? Generally, ang impression is such that it will take about 4 to 5 years para makumpleto ang target ng ginambal ni Goblito kay nga 70% ang mabakunahan. 4 to 5 years pa. Last night, sa press conference ni President Digong, ginhambal niya nga China has already donated 20 million doses of the Sinovac vaccine. Damo man ng mga countries, I don't know whether the 20 million doses is intended only for the Philippines o kung upod na daang iban ng mga countries na tagaan man sa China. Kaling din emphasize kaya ni President Digong nga lain yang Pilipinas.
Pero here in the city of Bacolod, Mayor Billionaire has already made a down payment of 31 million pesos.
Yes, Kagdason, diri sa aton sa Bacolod, nakasugod naman ang trial sa Johnson & Johnson vaccination. In fact, it was also announced na ang US has already approved the introduction of the single-dose vaccine for emergency purposes. Iyan na sa Johnson & Johnson. But back to the comment of the President kagabi. Sa kanamo nga mga pungsod countries receiving donations from China, ang the Philippines siya iba.
Iba talaga.
Iba talaga.
Special treatment.
Why? Because sila niya, only the Philippines ang nakabaton sinang donated nga mga vaccines kagin deliver pa ya sa China ni
Wow.
sa ato.
Donated, but our city government
Gin-deliver.
has
Ang iban
already
kuno yan ang mga
paid.
countries, gikuha gin nila to ya sa China.
Mm.
Philippines siya ginpadala dre ang military plane
Oh.
sa ginkargahan sa vaccine arin sa China.
Mm.
Kagin area sa Pilipinas.
31 million niya, who supplies this?
Ambot kung ano nga Canada daw wala ko sa
Kaya basic-
maka makulod.
If it is donated, why spend 31 million? If,
Magaling. And I'm happy to know nga bisan wala pang iban, si Mayor Bain kaga natong members ng Sanggunian has initiated to take action na diri ang Bacolod will become a participant to the initial testing stages sa Johnson and Johnson.
Mhm.
And isa pa gid no kung anuhan naton the COVID-19 case becomes something that we will have to worry about.
Mhm.
Amo nang tanaw ko no nga kung pananglitan madula mga restrictions.
Oh.
There is
All
free movement.
restrictions. Yes, of course.
There is free movement. Kung sa Rotary pa ang ilang slogan na sa Rotary,
Mm.
daw iya na sa Rotary nga. When people stop moving,
Oh.
COVID will stop spreading.
Okay, okay. Oh.
Di karon kung magsagad, why ka na travel pass?
Oh.
Wala ka na medical certificate.
Mhm.
Kung may nabakunahan ka, may ipakita ka lang nga daw tracking card pala na,
Oh,
COVID, COVID ID.
oh. Backtrack.
Inang tanan ng mga requirements, why na diretso ka na.
Oo. Di mas maayo na kung paano kita, normal na kita pangabuhi ta, so that so many unemployed people, no, will,
But it's going to be a choice, Mike. No?
Oh.
You take the risk of going to work
oh,
and earn.
yes.
You also take the risk that by going to work, basi kung malatnan ka.
Ang base nga malagnan ka daw kalayo, sinakakachutay mula sa taong nagkalamatay, no?
Oh.
Ang lain sinay kay kadamo sa problema ta sa sa ato pagpangabuhi. It is not only COVID because our officials in government only focus their minds on COVID cases,
Mhm.
but they're not so concerned about the livelihood, the employment of hundreds and thousands or millions of Filipinos. That's why I think it's high time that the government should do something about the problem on economy, unemployment. No, we can take the necessary precautions against COVID personally because we only have one life to live. So we are also careful about that. But to control everything that we cannot move freely, to look for a job, and to be quarantined, so that is really a problem that our government officials should think, should do something. It is a disservice to the people who voted them. They are only concerned about COVID. They are not concerned about the welfare of the whole population. Only health problem. Yan ang ilang ginatutukan eh. May comment ka, Attorney Talion, about COVID?
Regarding that siguro, sir, I would respectfully disagree. Kay kung nagtaon nimo, if we let COVID spread, it will also affect the people itself. Ang ilang mga opposition. Once mapektuhan ang isa ka tao, once they are stopping the source eh. And the source is, the spread itself is coming from nga the people nga galagaw. That's why may mga lockdown ta to implement that nga hindi mag-spread ang virus. Kay hindi lang livelihood ang maapektuhan sini, kundi ang kabuhi mismo sa tao, which can never be quantified by any amount of money. I mean, we are talking about lives mo, especially those people nga who are in a way mga immunocompromised to the point na they will be so with that siguro the government must make kung sa tunga pala kung nagtaon naton must make a compromise kung sa diin
Protect the lives of the
lives,
people, no?
and at the same time, protect the
Providing.
economy.
Ah.
Daw amo na naguro ang akong galing kabudlay mo lang taon nimo mo daw kabudlay nga stop, and at the same time kabudlay nga i-suspend ang economy.
Goblito, your last comment on COVID?
Well, usual precautions nga dapat. Ang face mask, social distancing, physical distancing rather, no? Subong daw ginakambyo na isang iban, hindi kita dapat mag-social distancing. Keep in touch with each other like what we're doing here. Pero physical distancing. At the same time, i-consider dapat kids ang gobyerno ang alternatives mintras way pa mabakunahan ang pumuluyo. And one of those alternatives is ivermectin and other measures that some doctors are already recommending and using. Dapat tatagan sa gobyerno urgent attention ang alternative measures antes mabakunahan ang target population.
So that was our former governor in the province of Negros Occidental, Mr. Rafael Lito Coscolluela, on our topic, COVID and political updates. Of course, our political updates follows in a short while. Now, my good friend, Mr. Rene De Asis, will say his last piece on COVID. Ren?
I only have one request for the powers that be and our government officials. Now that the vaccine mania is here, it must be remembered that only those with ages ranging from 18 up to 59 will be vaccinated. They are the first priority. What happens now to the most vulnerable sector? 17 years old, and people like Mike and me who has already reached 60 years and above. Nano kita, nano kami. No? I think this is an agenda that government and those people who are planning upstairs must also immediately consider. So thank you very much.
Okay. So that was our presentation on Transparency TV, COVID Updates 2021.
This has been another presentation of Transparency TV. For questions, comments, legal advices, please contact Mike Maghari at cell number 0961-559-3707. Thanks for viewing. God bless everyone.